sad, sad, sad. This is quite possibly the final humiliation. And I don't mean the final humiliation overall. The Democratic Party is going to have a lot more humiliations. I'm talking about just in this very specific instance. It's a nice little bow on what was already absurd, in a case that got that much more absurd as the case pursued itself. And it's finally come to its conclusion. The case that the Democratic Party brought against the Trump campaign, the Russian government, and Wikileaks, saying that there was this conspiracy to topple Hillary Clinton as opposed to her just failing to a reality show host, has come to its conclusion. It did not work out for the Democratic Party. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, if you dig this content, you find yourself coming back to this channel often, please like, share, and if you really dig this content, please consider supporting this content through PayPal or Patreon. It's not that I like saying it. Also, YouTube is an untrustworthy actor in this process. This evening, I'm going to go to a radio show. I may be getting a radio show, and if so, you guys may be seeing me stream every so often from a different station, in this sense, from a real radio station. So there's that. But let's get to the news. I have to start here because this warmed my heart. It was the funniest thing in the world to me. The Democratic Party, after losing to reality show hosts, to make matters worse on top of that, it's better instead of having to come to Jesus to figure out why they lost, to deal with the problems associated with the divisions within the party. Nope, Trump, Russia, conspiracy, let's run with that. And in order to up the pressure on that, filed a lawsuit against Trump, Russia, WikiLeaks, and if I'm not mistaken, Papadopoulos, because he was there also, filed the lawsuit. And when this came out, I said, this is a frivolous lawsuit that is, for all intents and purposes, a show trial. This gets absurd because once the Mueller document comes out, the Trump campaign, yes, the campaign that is a part of this lawsuit, tries to use the Mueller document to defend Trump. And you know what the Democratic Party says? That document is hearsay and should not be admitted into the record. I cannot make this up. Yes, the Democratic Party that screamed and bitched and moaned and complained and gesticulated for the Mueller investigation. Cenk Uygur was screaming, throw your body on the street if they try to move Mueller. The Democratic Party ultimately gets to the sad, ignoble spot of saying, we don't want that read into the record. The judge looks at them and says, are you serious? The judge shouldn't say that, but the judge, for all intents and purposes, made the point to him that, look, this is an investigation that took place over the last 3 years with millions of dollars backing it. And you're telling me that I shouldn't pay attention to this. You realize that I should pay attention to this. There's all sorts of legal precedent that allow me to pay attention to this. And I got to be honest, if you're arguing that the document and the investigation that you push for, the Mueller investigation, Saint Mueller, he was supposed to be a godsend, that guy. And then you turn around and say, yep, nope, we don't want that. Then you're probably going to lose. Because it looks like you don't want actual evidence read into the record, evidence that your party pushed for. And yeah, guess what? They lost. And there's a very particular part that I kind of want to read. The judge, there are 2 points. One main point has to do with, it is not for the judge to essentially get involved with issues dealing with countries. If the judge kind of accepts that the Russian government did have something to do with getting their hands on the information, then that's an issue for the country to deal with, not an issue for the judge to deal with. I hope that makes sense. It's a difference in this kind of, that's beyond our scope in this case. But there's a very particular point that Judge Cotto said. And I want to read it because it's awesome. If Wikileaks could be held liable for publishing documents concerning the DNC's political, financial, and voter engagement strategies simply because the DNC labels them secret and trade secrets, then so could any newspaper or other media outlet. but that would impermissibly elevate a purely private privacy interest to override the First Amendment interest in the publication of matters of the highest public concern. The DNC's published internal communications allowed the American electorate to look behind the curtain of one of the two major political parties in the United States during the presidential election. This type of information is plainly of the type entitled to the strongest protections of the First Amendment offers. Buckley v. Vallejo. That's yes. 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 1,000 times yes. What Wikileaks does and what they expose. I mean, you understand their argument, right? That the Democratic Party cheated one of the candidates that was winning in the race while open mouth telling people that that wasn't taking place. It was taking place. The documents that were published by Wikileaks peeled back the curtain to expose what they were saying were lies. Now, if you're telling me that this was so damaging, and look, if you want to say it's damaging, fair enough, but if you're saying that it's damaging, it means that it had public value, that the public saw something in those emails, something real, something legitimate that was taking place behind the scenes that made them recoil in horror, which to some degree legitimizes the information is released in the first place. Any way you look at it, the information is valid. That's my point. That's my point. That's embarrassing, man. This has been embarrassing for them. I feel Boris is a warning to the establishment Democrats about trying to derail the populist left train. Thoughts? Interesting. You're talking about Boris Johnson. Donald Smith, thanks for staying on the Russiagate fraud. Oh, yeah, I'm not leaving this. 3 years. 3 years. They've talked about this for 3 years. And I think I've started to personalize this in a certain degree. Because, look, my grandmother, she's ill. And she requires constant medical attention. My mom, in many respects, deals with taking care of my grandmother while also having her own needs that she needs to take care of. My uncle works 2 jobs while also trying to take care of my grandmother. All of them are over 60. At what point does a person who's worked their entire life, given their energies, their mind to this particular country, to allowing you to pursue whatever you want to pursue because they're adding their energies to some other dimension that you're not even thinking of that it exists? At what point can they stop doing that? And at what point of a society that is the richest on the planet continues to force these people to work that way and be persistently vulnerable? And my point here is, it's not just them. I don't look at that and personalize it and think that's the only one. I look at it and think to myself, I personalize it in almost an external way. If this is happening within the context of my family, this is probably happening in the context of a lot of families. And it has nothing to do with race, sex, gender, all that stuff. All sorts of people across the board have financial and economic distress. You may say that a particular race, it's deeper, and that may be true. There are historical reasons for that. But let's be clear, the economic argument crosses all sorts of borders. Look, Donald Trump is a warning to the left. It's not, and that's not even the left, the Democratic Party. You don't even have to look at Boris Johnson. Donald Trump got elected. They put Hillary Clinton up, said that everybody who voted for Trump was racist, and acted as if that was going to be the argument to take him down. He eats babies. He kicks puppies. He's a horrible, horrible person. He doesn't wash his hands when he comes out the bathroom. All those negative things that you can say about him, and the public didn't care. They still elected him. If that's not a warning, I don't know what it is. But I'm going to tell you what's going to take place. The Democratic Party is not going to believe that warning. And they're going to say, all right, that was a fluke. And so we need to ride against the sun once again. We need to figure out how close we can get to the edge. And we need to tell the public that unless you want Donald Trump again, you need to elect Hillary Clinton 2.0, Joe Biden. They need to get beaten multiple times in order for it to drill into their heads that you lost. And you lost because your candidate was horrible, not because of the Russians or anything else. Your candidate was just horrible. And it's not just your candidate lost. It was a slew of failures across the United States. It's as if the Russian government hacked each and every city, state, and government office in order to get rid of 1,300 Democrats across the country. Ludicrous. Utterly ludicrous. The warning is Trump. The warning is Trump. You don't have to look across for borders. The warning is Trump. If Trump wins twice, 2 more Supreme Court picks will be added from the Republican Party. He may have a Latvian hooker on the Supreme Court. You couldn't do anything about it. Most likely, you get a Republican House and Senate, meaning Medicare, Social Security are on the firing line. Trump winning the first time is the warning. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. All right, I'll end this here. If you guys enjoy the content, like, share. You can always support PayPal or Patreon. And I have to do this a little fast because I have several videos I need to get through before we leave tonight. Before we leave for the radio station. All right, guys. Thanks all. I'll see you in a moment.